Well, good evening, and welcome to another update video on what we're doing today. So, as I mentioned on yesterday's video, moving in to a new space. And there we go. Now you can see all the wonderful things going on here in the background for sure. This really old monitor and really old computer. I was going to do a live stream, but I cannot connect to the network, and this does not have wireless, so I have to get that fixed. Ideally tomorrow. So, real quick, yesterday on video I mentioned the Tessa printer, which is over there. Right there. That thing. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Anyway, that one is going to be indeed the AMA printer build. So that is actually, there are some printed parts that I have already completed for it. So I will be doing that. Pretty nice little guide. I've got some different stuff for that. I need to find a space here. Not a very big room, so you have to forgive me if my sound cuts out, but I needed my table here so I could organize this. The booklet itself is, several pages long, all of which I'm looking forward to doing. You can also see behind me my other project here, which I mentioned yesterday. I'm going to fix that, CFT5, now that I have room to do that. I have switched my stuff around a little bit. Let's see if I can move this a little closer. Okay. See? I can move my workbench wherever I want in this room. It's exciting. You're actually being... Okay. You are actually on the Ren Delta printer right now because I didn't bring my tripod. So, oh well. I'm still moving, I get credit. So, real quick on the AMA, links were for Mr. Metric for the screws and bolts and hardware. So that's one avenue that I'm looking at to order these parts from. There's a whole host of other stuff in here. At one point I had messed up the order of the pages and stuff, and rather than, I shouldn't even admit to this, but I printed a new one because now it's in order. I believe there's a part breakdown in this. It's a disclaimer too. This is for informational purposes only. So this guide is just an idea. It does mention parts that are needed, parts to be printed. Again, this is on Thingiverse, and it's Pheneny, Pheneeny. So this is an upcoming build that I'm going to be doing. There was something else too I was going to bring up. And I don't remember what it was. I know that I'm getting really annoyed with my camera. Hello? Look, I'm blurry. See, I can actually tell that I'm blurry. I'm going to move the desk because, honestly, I don't need it. Okay, that's moved. Okay, so we're back in focus again. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, I'm not sure how I feel about this. There we go. This is the forward-facing camera, like the face cam for the tidy shots or the selfie videos. So anyway, I'm gonna put this back because I do not need this right now. That's next on one of our things that we're gonna be doing. One of the things, I don't know if you guys have done it yet or not, but ooh, this is really tight fitting. I may not be able to get this back out. I'd still like to show it to you, but there is a game that I have started playing called Recoil. And I may have mentioned this in the video before. Recoil is a kind of a laser tag meets augmented reality sort of game. It's really cool. I like it. And one of the things I noticed is number one, I want to build a kind of a chest that I could build and put all the guns in, the grenade, the base unit, all over the wireless and all that. But another thing I wanted to do was come up with something interesting using 3D printing that would allow me to store batteries. So, guns, batteries. I didn't have to reach far to come up with this idea. So what I came up with, which it's broken, that's where one of my batteries, oops. Yeah, the tolerances I made for the batteries, when you're measuring a battery for tolerance, this is how dumb I am, okay? When you're using your caliper, make sure that you measure like more than one spot on the battery. Okay, the ends are actually narrower, who would have thought, than the inside. So there's a discrepancy where it's like thick, thin, thick, thin. And what happened was I measured the thin spot, not the thick spot. So this, while it does hold the batteries, you can't get them back out. So this has to be loosened up. What I did was I put in here on the end, which I don't know if you can read it or not. Need some light. But this says 1.5 volt, 50 millimeter. Well, that was before. Okay, so it's obviously a little bit bigger than 50 millimeter for the battery. But it was really cool. I liked it. Then I needed something to put it in. Now, anybody that's a gun enthusiast, when you get ammo, it comes in a box. And in the box is a tray. Unless, of course, you're buying 22 ammo, which usually comes in like a like one of those old milk jugs, the paper ones. But other than that, this needed to go in something. So I built this. It has an opening for the battery tray to slide into, and it has a little pusher so I can push them back out again. And on the outside, it says, which you can't see, well, maybe you can, but it says Recoil 50 millimeter ammo. So I thought that was pretty neat. This was just something I had done for fun. And this, that is really, really solid. I'm sure that there are many people right now that are watching and cringing because they know that this sound means I did not use infill, and you would be correct. This took a while to print because I don't know. I shouldn't have done the infill that I did of 0. Well, sorry, 100%. 0 would be none. But on the other side of that is the infill didn't actually matter because of the thickness. I actually put enough shells around it that it was like, well, I can't put any infill. I have to do something. And so there was no real need to specify. I could have done 0, and it still would have printed like this. So, but this is a really, a really rugged piece. So this is going to be saved. This, I have to narrow it down a little bit. So I got to redesign this tray a little bit, make the hole a little bigger. So that'll be fun. So that's something else I'll be doing here soon. And if enough people want it, I will probably put it on Thingiverse. I mean, why not? I don't know if I can, though, because it does say Recoil on it. I may actually have to take that off in order to put it on Thingiverse. I certainly don't want to make anybody mad, but I got such a good deal on it. Alright, so we're getting towards the end here. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I ordered parts today. Okay, so I did not video this thing earlier because I was trying to do this with all due expediency. The Sharon Instone printer is currently offline, or presently offline. She's offline right now. And the problem I had was this. There's a PTFE tube, like with most other printers, the heat break, unless you have the one that's an all metal hot end. This part Over time, this little tube wore out. And what happened was it created a gap in here. It was just a small one, but it was enough that the filament was actually working itself around the PTFE tubing. It wasn't leaking, so that's not the problem. But the problem was that because it was leaking by this little PTFE tube, when you were pulling out to change filament, it didn't want to go. And the reason is that this is a one-way fit. So the top is kind of, if you can tell, it's kind of dome-shaped. Okay? It's got a chamfer on it. And inside here, okay, there's a lip. So this will not go that way. But when you're trying to pull the filament out, you're pulling it out this way. So this is stuck. It couldn't go anywhere. Now, I worked around this for a while, and I was able to rip the filament out, which, it's every bit as bad as I'm actually making it out to be, because some of it was hard enough that I was basically having to break the filament, and it would extreme stretch, and then, but it wasn't like a clean break, so the plug wasn't coming out. So when I put new filament in, that new filament would push this out. Now, that also meant that it'd take longer for the filament to get through because it would have a lot more of the other filament mixed in with it for a while. Okay, so that. Now, normally, if I had a heat gun, which someone here has graciously offered to let me borrow, so I could, in theory, fix this. And I may. There's a little brass nozzle. This thing has hundreds of hours on it. And I've never had to replace it. So this is the first time I'm having to replace it. So I spent $11 on several of these. It's going to get it. Hold on. Before you give up on me here. This is the heat block. And this is fine. So I'm going to put this back in. So I was looking up parts. Okay, this is basically an MK10 setup. Took me a little while to find it. I did. I also had somebody else help me with that. At one point, they posted a link on where I could find the part. This is part of the Instone support group, I believe, in Facebook. So I found the MK10s on Amazon. I spent like $22. But I found something. I was going to get the cotton wadding to go around the heat block here, and the nozzle, of course, once it's put together. And I found the silicone boots. These are pretty familiar to most people because E3D uses those on their hot ends. Well, the silicone boot, I found 3 of them for like $9. So I'm going to use a silicone boot instead of cotton wadding and Captain tape. So, live and learn. All kinds of cool stuff. And I think that is pretty much everything for today. Don't forget, when you put these on, heat this up, and you put them together, okay? This little setup is different than some of my other ones, unfortunately. So, I'm probably going to tighten it first, and then heat it up, and then just tighten it just a little bit more. This one has a flat spot on it because this is smooth. That's because there is a grub screw or set screw, whichever one you want to use, that's in the actual block itself in there for the, whatever you call it, the through block. Anyway, when you put these together, okay, this machine had the nozzle all the way tightened. It was like, that was it. It was tightened. So because of the way the settings are on this printer, I could re-level the bed. I probably will have to anyway, but once that's tightened, then I'll heat it up, tighten it again, let it cool down, and do what I need to do. But that's pretty much all for today. So hopefully you found something entertaining or useful in today's video. I'm going to be putting stuff on this wall. That's where the green screen's going, so I'm sorry that it's not on there, but I didn't want to wait anymore, so I will catch you guys next time. Until then, keep making stuff, and get back to me when you've got comments.